All right. Welcome to my AMA for March 28, 2024. Everyone pretty much knows me. Hey, George. Everyone pretty much knows me here. So Dan Wassing from Dan's Tutorials. If you don't know me and you're new to these AMAs or these webinars and things like that, check out my site, danstutorials.com. And you can find out more information there and how you can support my efforts in these little webinars that I host on a regular basis. All right, we're just going to get right into it. I have about 7 or 8 questions, and my bowling is done. Also, I'm getting a pretty good rhythm with these things, so I think what we may be able to do as well is open it up to open questions towards the end. So let's get going with our first question. And it's not really a question. This actually came from George, and March 31 is World Backup Day. I didn't realize that there actually was a World Backup Day, but he brought this up at NMUG, and yeah, I thought I should mention that. Anything you want to add to that one, George?
Brooks.
George Brooks. Yep.
Oh, you're George Ruby. You could take credit for it too. We all could take credit for it.
All right. So make sure on March 31, make sure all of your devices are backing up. Just check your time machine. Just make sure everything's all backing up, because if something were to fail, your computer were to fail, you want to make sure that you can get at all of your stuff. And especially these days, it's not like the old days where you could take the hard drive out and put it in into another device. Hard drives are all solid state these days, and in Apple, it's not even you can't even take it out. It's attached to the motherboard. So if you were to drop your computer and it doesn't work anymore, you're not going to be able to get the data off. In the old days, you could pull that hard drive out and put it in another computer. So you want to make sure in this day and age more than ever that everything is backed up. So just make sure your time machine is working, and make sure that go to iCloud. Yep, I was just going to say, with the phone and the iPad, all you have to do is just go into Settings here, and you just go up to the top where your name is. This is how you get into iCloud. And then we go over to iCloud here, and you are going to see under all of the settings here, backup. So all you have to do is make sure that that is on, and if you want to double check to see when it was last back up, you can tap on it, and you're going to see all the backups down here. And it works the same way on the iPad. Just go to the cloud and make sure, follow these same steps. On the Mac, you don't back up to iCloud. It does not work that way. So really what you need to do is just go and make sure that Time Machine is connected. And the way that you can do that is go to your system settings. And if you just long press on this, oops, let's try this again. Long press on it. There we go. Long press on it. You're going to see Time Machine here. And then I do not have Time Machine on this computer because this is just a demo computer, so it doesn't really, I don't really have anything critical, although I should. I do have a hard drive here that I should hook up to it, but maybe I'll do that. But anyway, just want to make sure that it's backed up there. If you don't have system settings in your dock, you can also just go to the Apple menu, System Settings, and then go to General, because they moved it, and under General, you have Time Machine. And then everything's backed up. The Mac does not back up to iCloud, so do not think that everything that is on your Mac is in iCloud. iCloud will sync, which means it's going to have your contacts, it's going to have your calendars, it's going to have your notes, it's going to have your reminders, all that kind of stuff. And if you use iCloud Photos, it's going to have your photos. But anything that is in your folders, for the most part, is not going to be backed up. It possibly could be your desktop and documents if you use that, but generally speaking, your Mac itself is not backed up. You can just use it as a good rule of thumb. So make sure you have Time Machine. So that's what you're going to do on March 31, if not sooner, right?
Yeah, that's neat how you launch it from the launch bar. How do you get the system settings down there?
Yeah, that's actually a nice little tip. So basically, if you don't, so I'll just remove this. If you don't have the system settings in there, the system settings is just an app. So you can go to your applications folder and find it in your applications here. So there it is. And all you have to do is just take this and drag it and place it in the dock. And now it's in the dock. When it's in the dock, like
Launchpad.
you could launch it, but the problem is a lot of the stuff is buried. If you go up to view here, you can see all of the different settings. Again, Time Machine will be in here if I keep going down here. But a lot of these settings are buried in these. So what you can do, as long as it's in the dock, is just, not launch it. I keep launching it. Long press on it. There we go. Long press on it. Startup disk, not that you really need to get into that, but your storage, if you want to manage your storage, manage your Time Machine, all that stuff is easily accessible. Login items, that's buried in one of the settings. So this kind of takes stuff that is nested and puts it right in front of your fingertips here just by long pressing on it. So it's a nice, I saw AppleCare and warranty up there. So just a nice way of getting to some of those hidden system preferences. And I shouldn't say not hidden, that they're just nested somewhere. So, but here I can AirDrop, handoff, battery. Really easy to get at this stuff just by doing that. Now, if your system preferences is open, system settings, can it still do it?
Yeah.
It doesn't do it when it is open. So if you have system settings open, you're not going to get that. What you're going to get is the option to quit it and all that kind of stuff. So it has to be closed or quit. Now I get those. So that's the trick. If you don't see that, that means that your system settings is open. So just go ahead and close it, and then you'll be able to show it.
Dan?
Yeah.
I've stopped trying to navigate system settings
Yeah.
because it's so random and so on. If you bring it back up, the system settings,
Yeah. Okay.
that search at the top of that list is fabulous.
Yes. Absolutely. And sometimes that is hidden. Oh, nope. I thought it was hidden sometimes. But yeah, that search is, because I'm with you. I wish that they would put this alphabetically. You go up here to view, it's all alphabetical. Or if you long press on the icon when system settings is closed, it's alphabetical. But you go over here and they group these together by what they think that it should be grouped by, but all of us have different ideas of how things could be grouped and all that. So it's hard, finding some of this stuff. Just put it alphabetical, Apple. That's all I'm asking. You used to be able to do that with the old system preferences. We should be able to do that with here. Please, Apple, if you listen to me. So,
Dan,
but
Dan,
yeah.
which one of your tutorials do you cover all of this kind of stuff?
In the Mac, I have a bunch of stuff on this. I don't know if I have any. I have a tip on this little guy, but you just kind of have to look at my site.
Okay.
Where it is, but
Okay.
Dan, can I ask a question?
go for it.
I notice in your dock you have lots and lots of programs. Do they impact the memory while they're there in the dock?
No. They will impact the memory if they're open. So if you look here, you're going to see there's a black, let's see if I can do it. There's a black dot there. That means that is open. So that one will impact the memory. None of these are open, so no, they will not impact it at all. Just
Is that
convenient.
an old wives' tale?
Yeah, probably. People might think that these are open and it might be taking up memory. Unlike the iPhone, you can leave them open on the iPhone because they have a pause feature and all that. So a lot of people will do this to save battery life. And I think I talked about this a while back. That doesn't save battery life. That actually can do the opposite. Because now when you want to go and open up, I have photos here. If I go and quit this, next time I open up photos, it has to pull everything back into the memory. So that can actually use up more battery life. So, on the iPhone and the iPad, yeah, you just leave them paused in there. But on the Mac, yeah, if you want to clear up memory, you want to quit out of them. I have Pages open here. So apparently I must have been playing around with it. So I really should quit out of it, and I can just long press and quit. Now it's going to free up some memory. I created this background here, so that was in Acorn, so I'm just going to quit. Let's see, that's fine. And, Canva is open, so I should quit. And George, I did do this, just so you know, George Brooks, when I didn't restart my computer, but it did quit a lot of apps. So it may help. All right. So yeah, that's how you can work with the system settings in the dock. So the next one is from Ward, and have I experienced installing macOS on an unsupported Mac? And I haven't done that, Ward, at all. What Ward is looking at doing is installing install macOS unsupported. I forget the name of it.
What's unsupported Mac?
It's too old of a Mac to install, like Mac OS Sonoma.
In my case, I have a 2017 iMac, and it stopped at Ventura.
Right. What was that thing? What's the one tool that you use for that, Ward, again? Can you remind me?
I haven't done it.
Oh, okay.
I'll go find it.
Oh, I'm using. Let me go to Google. Google will tell me. So there's a tool out there.
Dan, the guy who does really good videos on this is Mr. Macintosh, a YouTuber who takes you step by step on how to do that.
Oh, Mr. Macintosh. And we'll go here. So, yeah, maybe he's been around for a long time, hasn't he? If I remember
Yeah, he's been
right.
around a while. I
Long
took a
time.
couple of Macs and did this, and it does work. It's slower than it should be, and things like that. It takes a lot of patience and
Okay.
a lot of time.
So there you go, Ward. Check out Mr. Macintosh. And looks like he has some YouTube videos, but looks like he has a lot of stuff on that. Putting unsupported Mac OSs on the Mac. I'm trying to remember what tool that was. Let me look on my, because I did investigate this a little bit.
I had it in the email that I sent you, the request.
Yep.
Oh, you can do that with VMware and Parallels, put old versions.
Well,
Well,
that's in,
I think you can go forward, but you may not. It depends.
Open Core Legacy Patcher.
Right. That's
Open
correct.
Core Legacy
Yeah, that's it.
Patcher.
That's what you need, but you also need to make sure that you're using the right one for your machine. And all that
Right.
kind of stuff.
And it
It's-
looks like it is fully, so yeah, Ward gave me the model number of his Mac, and he just said it again, but this does fully support that particular model that he has, the 2017. So supported models, and it was a MacBook or a iMac, right?
iMac, it was an 18.3.
18.3, which is down here. So here, yeah. So he has this iMac here, iMac 18.3, and it is supported by. So I would say, I'd try it. I'd give it a shot. You won't have all the features, but I think it does a pretty good job. I haven't done this in years. I used to, but I haven't done this in years. I don't just have any older Macs. I do have an old 2012.
What was that he was trying to do again?
So
The
this,
most current
yeah,
operating system on an unsupported Mac?
correct. Yep. So this Mac that he has here, this 18.3, is a 27-inch from 2017, and Mac OS Sonoma and Ventura are not able to, and Apple won't allow it to install on there. So what
Apple
Ward will,
Apple does support Ventura on that,
okay,
but not Sonoma.
Sonoma. So what he'd like to do is put Sonoma on this, and Apple won't do that because it's too old of a Mac. So this
What's
open
the
core
advantage?
legacy patcher, just so you can use Sonoma. That's all, right?
Yeah.
Just wants the latest and greatest on
security
there.
updates.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So will there be a lot of things he can't do?
I don't think, not generally not, no. It's usually more hardware, because the hardware doesn't support something. But I have not read that there's a lot of things that you miss out on when you do this kind of stuff. There is going to be stuff, but I don't know how much, But I would give it a shot, Ward. I mean, just pop it on there and see what it does. Make sure you have it. It doesn't change anything on the Mac, so if it doesn't work, if you have a time machine backup, you could always reload the back, reload the old one.
So it's not a problem to go back.
Nope.
Well, the one complication in this specific situation is that the Fusion drive is down to 3% of its life. And and so in order to pass this off to my wife and have her actually use it, I'm going to need to have that repaired. And it's probably not going to be worth it.
So for the Fusion drive, so what Ward's computer has is actually 2 different drives on it. This was before, kind of like the hybrid, when gas engines, and then they went gas electric, and we're still in that gas electric, and then we also have the electric cars. So that older computer is what I would call a hybrid. It has a spinning hard drive for all the large data, 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte, and then they have a small SSD in it that helps speed it up, and that's generally where they cache the files and make it a little bit faster. So it's that hybrid. And that SSD, which Ward has on there, is getting full, 3% or getting old, 3% of life on it. Mm-hmm.
How do you find how much life you have left on a hard drive?
How did you find that out?
There's an app that comes from Micromac called Lifespan, and their TechTool Pro will also tell you what the life of your SSD is.
Okay, so that is, we talked about this.
Lifespan.
Yeah, it's by TechTool Pro. So this is one tool, and then that will hardware testing. And I think I mentioned this when I worked at Apple 10 years ago. This was a tool that we used, TechTool. So I can't say that Apple is endorsing it. All I can tell you is we did use it on Apple's behalf 10 years ago. Not saying that they're still doing that today, but 10 years ago, that is something that Apple did use.
Dan, if you click on products, you'll see that Lifespan is a smaller product. And you might even find a trial of that will tell you what your, I don't know. I've paid for it, so.
Right.
Dan, if you go into system settings and go to general, you can go up to storage. It pretty much tells you the whole story.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah, you can go into general
storage.
here, and then you go to storage. I think I just created a video on this, and you can. It doesn't tell you the lifespan of the hard drive or anything like that, but you can see how much space you're using, and then they have recommendations. And what's really nice about this is if I go to applications here, that's using most of my storage. I can click on the little eye here, and I can see which one. Google Chrome is, of course, the largest. Well, if I didn't use Google Chrome, I could just go and click on this and delete it. So the storage here is actually, managed storage is a nice way to manage your storage. It doesn't give you all the health and all that, like what Ward is talking about, but you are going to be able to see how much you're using, what is using it, and even go and delete. This one's kind of nice. When you go to Documents here, this one's kind of nice. Click on the eye. What you can do is see all of your large files. So here they are. So my demo videos is the largest one. I can click on that and delete it if I'm not using it. I can also see all of my downloads. My downloads folder, I hardly ever empty it. So I'm sure there's some old stuff. You're going to see in this one here, I have stuff that's older than a year. Do I really need to have this? Well, I can go and delete them. Here are unsupported apps. So if you had an app that you have some documents for an app that is not on your Mac anymore, you can't open it up, well, you can go and delete those documents as well. And then they have the general file browser, but the nice thing about this is it does it by size. So it's automatically sorting it by size. So I can see that my pictures here are the largest. So the whole idea with this managed storage is to help you find your largest files and your oldest files, and then you're able to delete them if you want. So, and that's in that managed storage. It's a nice little thing, and like I said, I did just create a video on that. I think it's on my site from maybe a week ago, and I think I have one on the iPhone or the iPad. Anyway, there's more stuff coming out on that for all the devices. So, how you can manage your storage. But,
I have a question on the download. Can you just move something from the download file into a file that you have on your hard drive?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you don't have to rename it.
Nope.
No.
The downloads folder is just another folder, but it's by default where everything is downloaded to.
Okay, I thought I
but
had
that's
to
it.
rename them. Okay, thanks.
And when you go to downloads here, this is in the downloads folder, you can actually show it in the Finder, and then I can go and move it to a different folder. I just drag and drop and move it. So you can. So. Any other questions on that before we move on?
Yeah, the interesting thing is if you notice there's a column for unsupported apps.
Yeah.
And many times if you're having trouble with some program, you can kind of go backwards from where the document is and go to the application and find out exactly which app is the one that's causing you some grief.
So use this as a troubleshooting tool as well.
Yeah, go backward. You can kind of go backwards.
I don't quite understand what he means by that.
Well, you can go into the documents.
Right.
And if he clicks on unsupported, you'll see a list of programs that documents that are being created by certain unsupported apps. And many times, if you find you're having trouble, you can kind of work backwards and find out the app that was causing the problem. And
just by looking at this,
work backwards.
Okay.
Oh, that's good. Thanks for that. That's great.
All right, let's go on to our next one, and that is how do I hide hidden files on my Mac?
Permanently.
Permanently. Is that your question?
Yes.
All right.
Because if you use a shortcut, you just Command-Shift-, you can get rid of them. But every time I go back into the Finder, they're back again.
Right. Well, first of all, why are your hidden documents showing?
I don't know.
That's the question. Okay. Those hidden documents, like DS folder and things like that, the Mac needs. So if you go and delete it, it'll just go and recreate it. So that's why that's happening. So the bigger question is, why do you have hidden folders? So what we can do is we can hide those. So first of all, if I go to downloads, I'll just pick on downloads here. If I go and put a period in front of this, let's see if this works.
Dad.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So I'm in my downloads folder here, and I'm just going to put a period in here. We're going to see if this actually works. If I put a period in there, yeah, reserved for the system. Those are usually hidden. a lot of times they have a period in front of it. But anyway, let's go and figure out how you can stop that from happening. So there's two ways that you can do this. You can go into Terminal, and let's go Mac. I have to look it up because I do not remember what it is. Show hidden files. Okay. View hidden files with Terminal. So I'm going to show it, and then we're going to see how you can hide it. And then I'll show you a shortcut for this. But basically, it's in Terminal here. And all I have to do is just type this in here. Defaults, right, com. So I'm going to do that.
By the way, Dan, that's only working for Macs. It's not going to work for iPads, correct?
Correct. Yeah, this is nothing. iPad, you would not be able to do this. So now we should see some hidden, well, we don't. I don't know why we don't, true. But anyway, what you need to do is type in false with this. So I would just go in here and go true, and it needs to be false. But I'm going to show you a shorter way of doing that, and then that will go and hide it. So you don't want it to show it. We talked about this a while back. There's an app out there. It's a free app, and it's called Onyx. And Onyx will allow you to, come on, you can do it. There we go. This has been around for many, many years. But Onyx will basically allow you to turn on and off hidden features of Apple. So we're just going to take a quick tour of Onyx here, and this might be the easier way because then you're not getting into Terminal and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to download it here.
It's funny. I have Onyx on my computer, and I never even looked deep enough.
So
to
I bet
see if you can hide.
I bet you
things.
that's how it was turned on, through Onyx.
That could have been.
Yep. All right. Where is it? Oh, Onyx. There we go. Put it in my applications folder.
It's a great program for those people who are on this webinar.
Yeah, so Onyx, like I said, allows you to turn on and off hidden features from Apple. Stuff that, let's see, open privacy, select full. I got to make sure this is all good for settings. Open privacy. And select full disk access.
You have to go into full access.
Yeah, where is that?
It's up a little higher.
Again, wouldn't it be great
There
if
it
this
is
was
right there.
alphabetical? What?
No. It's right there in front of you, Onyx.
There it is. Go ahead and reopen. All right. And put in my password. Agree. There we go. All right. So this is Onyx here. And basically what we have under Onyx is maintenance stuff. So your Mac does maintenance stuff on a regular basis. It does stuff as long as it's awake. Every day it does something. This is a Unix thing. Every week it does something. Every 30 days it does something. Just cleans its cache and little things like that. Just clean house, I guess you could say. Well, what you can do is you can have your Mac kind of do this stuff. You can force it to do it ahead of time if you wanted to. So one of the things you can do is, Spotlight Index. If your Spotlight isn't working, your search here, that is all based on, it's an index in an internal database. Well, if things aren't working properly, if it's not finding something, what you may need to do is re-index that. Basically just rebuild it. So it's just going to throw away the old index and create a new one. If you have a lot of stuff, it could take a little bit, but it's just going to be fresh and new. So I could go in here and just say, rebuild that index. So, mailboxes, and rebuild the index for mail. here are probably some of the files that he sees, the .ds store files. Here's cleaning stuff. It doesn't really hurt anything, but you can go in there and just say, run these tasks, and it'll go and do it. I would recommend that you don't really need to do that unless a lot of this stuff, the only time you would run it is if you're running into a problem. So it's not something that you need to do. But what it does have is some neat little tools in here. And let's see here. Is it parameters? Parameters here. So this is where you can turn on some of the hidden little tools. So if I go over to Finder here it is, show hidden files. So my guess is that this is on.
I have to check it. I'll bet it is. Yep.
So it's just under parameters, and then under the Finder, and then you just make sure that that is turned off.
Thank you so much.
Yep. Here's where you can turn off the delay of the proxy. So this is a neat little, Apple added this back in, thankfully. But this, if you go to a folder right down here, if you're a veteran Mac user, you may have in the past, what you could do is you could click on that, and you're going to see that see that little proxy icon. See how it takes it's a delay. I have to move it over top of there. Actually, Apple actually removed that altogether for a couple of years. And then they added it back
let
in.
You know, I just checked my Onyx, and it was on.
It was on?
On.
Yep. There you go.
There you go.
So
thank you so much.
No problem. You can turn off that delay. So, it's just little things that you have in here, a lot of little different things. You're not going to hurt anything by messing around with these parameters here. It just turns things on and off. Sometimes you might have to restart something. And if you don't like it, you want to go back to the very beginning, you can restore the defaults. Any changes that you made are going to be back to your standard macOS. So it's a tool that you can kind of play with. You don't have to fear that, as long as you stick with the parameters here, you're not going to really hurt anything. Don't worry about any of the other stuff. You can actually make little changes to your Mac that might make it work a little bit better.
If I could add, Dan, if you ever have problems with Apple Mail, that little setting at the beginning over there where it says re-index the mail, that has saved my life on a couple
Has
of
it? Okay. So if you can't find your mail, what he's talking about here is, let's go back into Onyx, that re-indexing the parameters and all that. Agree. Under maintenance here. So what we're talking about here is the rebuild, and what he's had to do is rebuild his mailboxes and mail.
And it solves the issue.
Solve the issue. So if you're having a problem with mail, you can just go and turn this on, rebuild the index, and then run the task, and it'll just go and rebuild it, and hopefully your mail will be better.
Yep.
Always, whenever you play around with this, always make a backup first.
Right.
World Backup Day.
Dan, question?
March 31. Yes.
In the Mail app, there's the rebuild messages. Does that do the same thing as the Onyx?
I don't know if it does the exact same thing. I think I can. So what you're talking about there is up here under Mailbox, I believe.
Yeah, it's down at the bottom.
Rebuild. Yep. That might do the same thing. I don't know. I'm going to rebuild here, and there's a nice little activity window that can open up. And here you can kind of see it's downloading messages. But you can get a little activity of what it's doing. You can see I haven't opened up my mail in a while. This is all just junk mail.
Dan,
but it might do the same thing.
Dan, it used to be that rebuild was just the current folder that it rebuilt.
That's what, I was thinking the same thing, Ward. If I go back into mail. So what Ward is talking about, if I select iCloud here and I go to rebuild. Now, it won't do it. iCloud won't let me rebuild it. They must, not sure why. Apparently, Apple iCloud Mail doesn't need to be rebuilt. But, yeah, the mailbox will only rebuild what I have selected here. Thank you, Ward.
Yeah, thanks.
So if you go to Onyx, I think it rebuilds everything. So there you go. And like I said, make sure you have a backup. Mail is stored on the server, but it's still just nice to have a backup, when you do stuff like that. But for the most part, Onyx is harmless, kind of thing. And there's some pretty neat features that you can get in there. So, All right. Our next one here is from Frank, and Apple TV keeps asking for his password. And is Frank here? Doesn't look like it. Okay, doesn't sound like it. So Frank, if you watch this later, I'm going to give you the real. I don't know. I looked it up, and it really shouldn't. So every time he logs in, it's asking for his password. And this is on his Apple TV. You can create multiple accounts on the Apple TV, so maybe try another account and see if it remembers it. But I don't know why it shouldn't be asking for your password on a regular basis. I don't even know the last time my Apple TV asked for my password, to be honest. So there's definitely something going on. He did say it might be operator error. So I don't know. The Apple TV there's really nothing that it should be telling it to. So, yeah, sorry, I don't have a clear answer on that. So,
I have something that might actually have affected that.
Okay,
if
go
you
for it.
by chance change your router, that could prompt it. And the reason why I'm saying that is one of my friends gave me their Apple TV and they didn't actually erase it. And of course, they have some very good streaming apps that I don't pay for. And now their Apple TV is asking me for their password. Of course, I keep clicking not now. But that could be the reason.
Could be, yeah. That'd be interesting. I'll say, Frank, if that is it, let me know, and then I can share this that was the actual issue with everyone. But yeah, thanks, George. All right, our next one is how do I burn a movie to a DVD with an M1 Mac? So this is coming from Larry. Is Larry here? All right. So Larry said that he has a super drive. Remember those? The external drive that you can hook up to your computer, and you can burn DVDs. And what he wants to do is he wants to burn a movie into a DVD. You used to be able to do that with iDVD. What a great program that was. But you used to be able to do this with iDVD. Just drag your movie on there, and it would make the format properly so you could view it on any DVD player. Well, you can still do that, even though it's an M1, M2, M3, really doesn't matter. You just need to get the software that can do that. And luckily, there is actually quite a bit of software. If you have the super drive, you don't need anything fancy. I have a Samsung drive that is probably close to 10 years old. And I haven't tried it, but I can say with good amount of confidence that I'd be able to burn a DVD with that Samsung drive. There's nothing special about the drive itself, except that it can write. But you do need the software that can format it into a specific, into something that a DVD player can read. So if you go to the App Store and you search for DVD, there are a number of, we don't want to rip it, we don't want to take stuff off of that DVD player. What he wants to do is he wants to write it. So you got to look for the right one here. Of course, we have Toast. I remember this has been, Toast has been around forever. So this one here will do it for $19. Here's a system DVD burner. And this one here is you could try it for free. It has an in-app purchase, but at least you could download it and see if it works. Here's DVD burner. Here's Power DVD burner. So this one's totally free. I don't know, if you just need to burn just a simple movie, this one just might do the trick. So just search for DVD in the App Store and make sure that you want to create a DVD, you don't want to rip it. You don't want to take something off of the DVD. You want to put something on it. And then most of these are just drag and drop, and all you have to do is just drop your movies on there that you want on the DVD, and the software will take care of the rest. They're pretty simple to use from my recollection of them. So,
And would you say that the external SD drives pretty much have replaced the DVDs?
external, yes. Mm-hmm. Well, and on top of that, how many of us have a DVD connected to our TV?
Yeah.
Probably not a lot of us. Does anyone?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I do.
okay. Okay, I feel all right. But
So
yeah.
I.
All right.
I have a PlayStation.
Oh,
So do
I guess
I.
yes, I do too. So,
But I was just looking, trying to see if there's anything in setup that actually burns DVDs.
I don't think there is.
That's why I was just looking. I was like, it doesn't look like there is, which is really shocking.
Yeah. All right. So next question that we have here is, how well? Oh, this is coming from. So I got a new Tesla, and I ordered CarPlay for it. So now we're getting off of the Mac stuff. So we're getting into the fun stuff. Not that the Mac and all that other stuff isn't fun. So I'll end with this, and I believe then we can go into open questions. So I got a new Tesla, and Tesla doesn't have CarPlay. You have to use their system with it. But there's a little box that you can get. It's $50, and then it runs through the browser, because the Tesla does have an internet browser, and then it can you can use CarPlay through the browser. I ordered it, Tom. I haven't got it yet. I'll let you know how it goes. I'm very curious. So it's $50. I'm like, I can't go wrong with $50, so I'll try it. I'd love to be able to have messages on there. We have messages on the Tesla, but it's like Android. If I'm in a group, most of my friends are on iPhones, thankfully. So the messages all kind of work great. And then I get in my Tesla, and it breaks it all apart. It only sends it to the person that sent. So I'd love to be able to have messages on there. I have Apple Music on the Tesla. I don't, so I got all that other good stuff.
So disappointed it's not built in the Tesla.
Yeah, I don't think Rivian does it either. They just want to use their own system. And it kind of makes sense with these cars. If we're going to Tybee Island next week and we're going to drive down there, it's about an 18-hour drive. I wouldn't use Apple Maps for that, because Apple Maps will not tell me when I need to charge and all that. So, the Tesla knows like, you know what, you're going to stop over here, you're going to stop over here, you're going to stop over here. So Apple Maps won't do that. So I wouldn't necessarily use the Apple Maps in the way that I think a lot of people would.
On chat, there's a question about what is the name of that device that you bought for $50?
Let's see here.
It's Marty's question.
All right. Mac. Let's see here. It was CarPlay.
Not from
Tesla.
Amazon.
No, not from Amazon. They don't have it. I mean, it says it's out of stock or whatever. I ordered it directly from the company, probably a Chinese. I'm sure it's a Chinese company.
Email.
And it's CarLink, this one here. So,
Oh, CarLink, yeah.
CarLink. CarLink kit. So they have a Tesla CarPlay adapter, and it works. They have a few different models. I got the one for hotspot, so it doesn't have to have a SIM card. I don't have to pay Verizon, because it doesn't need cellular connection, but it'll connect through my phone through a hotspot. Like I say, I don't know exactly how this is all going to work. And if you just do a search, go to a YouTube video, there's a lot of coupons where you can save 20%. So I got it for like $50. So
you say it was made in China?
Oh, I'm sure it is.
Okay, then
so it's going to track where I'm going. I know
exactly. I would look overhead for any spy weather satellites. That are
my cars are.
around.
My car is already doing that. My phone is already doing that. It's like, oh, what the hell?
Hey, your wife is doing it. Yeah, we know.
Right. So yeah, that's what I'll let you know how that goes when I get it. Hopefully I'll get it before we leave. We're leaving on Thursday, which
How many
leads me
times will you
to.
have to stop?
Well, hold on here. Let's make sure that that's the last question. Open questions. Okay, so I do use, if everyone's kind of curious on this, there's something called a Better Route Planner. This is actually owned by Rivian now. Rivian bought them.
That's what I use when I use somebody else's
Do you?
car.
Okay, yep.
Yeah.
And it works good. I have an account with them, and I love that they, allow me to, I don't know if I have my login on this computer or not, but let's see if I can do it. Select my vehicle. So we'll just go and select it. And 21, long range, done. So I have my vehicle in there. Where do I want to go? We're going from Holland, to Tybee. Actually, we're going to go via DC, route of DC. We're going to see Beth's brother. So we're actually making a little bit of a longer trip, but we'll just go Tybee Island.
Don't take the bridge in Maryland.
Right.
Dear Lord.
What bridge?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My car doesn't do well in water, I can tell you that. So it's now just kind of calculating it out based on, and you'll be able to see all the stops here. And this is rough. I use Tesla's thing more than I would use this. But I think we're going to take this route, more scenic. We'll probably stop and stay the night over in Ohio here. That's about a 5-hour drive. Actually, we're going to go to Virginia, but this will be on the way back. But there's my stops anyway. So I'll have to stop in Jackson or Battle Creek for 7 minutes, and it looks somewhere in Ohio for 20 minutes, and then Southern Ohio. So there's all my stops that I have to do with the car.
Are those minutes based on right now?
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And the speed limit.
And the speed limit, I can set it up where I go, 10 miles over the speed limit. If I were to log in here, it actually knows my car, although it's a new car, so it doesn't really know it that well yet. But it'll base it all on averages, and the more I drive, the better this routing will get. This is very, very crude routing right now.
Now, what does it take into account the temperature? Because of course, heat and air is definitely
it takes. If I pay for a Better Route Planner, I think it does that. My Tesla does do that. That's why I use my Tesla. This will kind of tell me a rough idea, but when I'm in my car, I don't use this. This is just kind of use it for more informational. My car does all that other, so it takes all that into account. Yep.
So this is a new Tesla.
This is a new Tesla. Yep.
Did the old Tesla have a good trade-in value?
Yeah, it did. So I got a new one, and they gave me 10,000 supercharger miles. So this trip that we're going to be using here, I don't know how many miles it is total. Oh, right here. Oh, kilometers, of course, because I didn't set it up right. So this trip won't cost us anything. It's going to be on Tesla, and that was just because I traded in my car, and I bought it before the end of the month, and they also transferred my full self-driving for me. So when I bought my original car, that full self-driving was only $3,000, so I bought it. And it's not great, don't get me wrong. I use it in the highways. I think they have a long ways to go. I'll go right down say that right off the get-go. But it is very, very, very cool. And now it's $12,000. But they transferred that over to my car, so to the new car. So I didn't have to pay the $12,000. So yeah, there's a lot of little things that they gave me incentivized, that helped make my decision, kind of thing.
They kept you in the family.
Yes, they did. And we just got a bigger vehicle. You know, we have friends that camp, and what we'll be able to do is camp in this thing. They have, let's see here, Dream Escape mattress.
Is this a 2024X?
Yes. It was built in March. It was built this month.
In California.
In California. Yep. So I'm looking at, I really should switch to Google. Where is it? Dreamcase.
See,
So
all cars built in California should have
yeah.
poles instead of shock absorbers for the earthquakes.
Yeah. Well, it does have air suspension, which is nice. My old car. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'll just stop recording here. So you know, now we can kind of get into the more loose talk. So let me do my little outro here. Thank you everyone for. What's that?
I don't see the gull wings, the back doors.
Yeah, no, I'll show you that in a minute. Let me stop the recording, then we can just kind of go loose talk. So thank you everyone for joining or for attending. And if you want to learn more, if you're not familiar with my site, go to danstutorials.com. Also, what you can do is, where I lost my train of thought. Oh, my next, let me do this. Next event is April 18th. So we're leaving on Thursday. We're going to go to DC. Then we're going to drive down to Tybee Island on Sunday. We have a good friend of ours who's turning 60, so we just got a group of us that rented out a house on Tybee Island. So for the next 2 weeks, I'll be gone. So I'm going to do another AMA on the 18th. So the next 2 weeks, I'll be out, just so you know. And then I'm also going to start doing some more classes and things like that. So, but thank you, everyone, and I will stop the recording, and then we can do a little more loose talk.
Safe trip.